welcome to another day in Melbourne. Oh, this fucking weather. It was sunny 10 minutes ago. Trying to head down to the freaking bloggers meet down in Stkilda, and I've got a feeling it does not want me to go there today, because this is getting a bit crazy. Holy shit. The rain's not that... Whoa! Crosswind. You fucking moron. Oh, yeah, I'm wet. Ow, rain hurting. Oh, I can see blue sky. Come on! Stop raining! How is this possible? There's no clouds above me anymore. Oh, sun. Oh, yeah. But yes, guys, for the ride down, I thought I'd do a bit of a recap on the CFMoto. Just a few updates and things on how it's been going. There have still been issues with the bike per se, but overall, I mean, it's still a... If there weren't any issues, it's actually not a bad bike. I mean, the biggest problem it has at the moment, like I think I've said in a previous video, is that it's got some competition now. Competition that's actually a very similar price, which doesn't bode well for it. Power-wise, this bike is still plenty freaking fast. I mean, I don't see how you could need more power in your restrictions period. I mean, even full riders can still have fun on this thing. But, sorry, the torque that this thing produces, like, I've always wondered why this thing feels so quick. Like, I've taken the Daytona and everything out for a test ride, and this feels very quick compared to those as well, and I've always wondered why, but it seems to be that even though this thing doesn't produce the top-end power of those bikes, it still produces similar torque down low. And this bike does produce a lot of torque. Oh, what's going to happen here? Got to be careful through here. There are a lot of people who don't know how to drive in Glen Waverley. If you live in this area, you know who I'm talking about. But yes, the bike is still having some problems. It does like to not start on occasion, which is not good. It's been okay lately though. Probably the biggest problem it's having at the moment is that the speedometer still does not work properly. I was doing a run down Mountain Highway the other day and it was reading 0 kilometers an hour for half of it, which is, you know, it's always good if you get pulled over. You can say I was doing 0. I don't think it's going to work though in court, so you might struggle with that. But it makes my blogs easier to edit, that's for sure. Other than that, nothing's fallen off the bike technically. It's all still underneath me at the moment. We're going to put an exhaust on it, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm waiting for my mate to get back from overseas and then we'll get that done, hopefully. If I ever get the feeling back in my fingers. Oh yeah, the fan just kicked on the bike. I've got a heater. Alright, so the heat this engine produces does come in handy. But yeah, that was another thing that I touched on in my previous video, is how much heat this bike produces. The fan does run a lot on this bike. You know, to the point where you stop for 10 seconds and the fan's on. To me, that doesn't seem normal. Now, I'm not sure if the cooling system has a little issue of some sort, but I would not expect a fan to be running within 10 seconds of stopping a bike. Especially after you've been moving at a reasonable pace. What else? What else? For some reason, it's a bit rattly at the moment. I'm not sure why. Got to check the exhaust bolts and everything, but it just seems to be a bit more, you know, it vibrates a bit more when you're on it. I'm not sure why. Definitely worse than it was at the start. What else? I've had a few little impromptu races on this bike already, and it's beaten its ESXR 600. That guy was a squid though, so you know that might not be a win, but I'm counting it as a win. I don't care. I don't care if the bike's quicker. I beat him. Also beat a guy on a CBR 600RR, and I've got video of that one which I may share one day. Yeah, this bike is not slow. It really does go, and you do have to be mindful of that because it will get you into trouble. I mean, this thing on occasions has lifted the tyre in second gear with a, you know, a pretty hard change into second, which you know, it just doesn't seem right for a loaner bike. The gear change I'm getting used to on this bike. It's not as bad as it once was. I'm getting used to having to throw the shifter a bit further. But the first to second change is still a bit of a bitch on this bike. You have to really give it a kick, otherwise it'll get into neutral and you'll be stuck there and look like a dickhead, which has happened a few times now. The brakes on this, still happy with them. They've got good bite. They don't feel that great on the initial, you know, initial application, but this doesn't have braided lines. I believe there's a new model out now that does have braided lines, which has been done for some reason. Either that, just make it look good. But yeah, like I don't have any problems with stopping on it. They seem to pull up and do the job. The biggest problem that I have with this bike is that it's got competition now, like the CBR 500R. I think it was an R, CBR 500, whatever. That bike, you know, that's still got 48 horsepower, 50 horsepower, something around there, and it's Honda build quality, and you know, it's around the same price, and it is going to have better resale value, you know that much. And to be honest with you, I suppose it's being a bit prejudiced against brand names, but I would prefer the Honda. But that's not to say this bike has been horrible. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It gives me a good laugh. If they can fix the issues with the speedometer and everything, it seems to do the job quite well. It just depends on if you want something a bit different, or if you just want something a bit more mainstream, because the CBR's 500s are going to be everywhere soon. I was speaking to a dealer the other day about them, and they can't keep the things in the store. They sell that quickly. Honda obviously nailed that model when they built it. Yeah, so that's a little bit of an update on the bike. Hope that helps some people. The other thing I wanted to talk about was my new bike. No, I haven't got one yet. I've had a few people asking me about it. I'm still looking. It's a very hard decision to make. It's been turning into more of a burden, actually. The Daytona R's have arrived now, so I am still considering that. And I just heard that the Z1000's on the way, the brand new one, which could be an interesting proposition if some of the stuff they're talking about is true. But that yellow CBR 1000RR didn't work out. I really wanted that bike. It looked great. It was exactly what I was looking for. Then I did some research on the forums, asked a few guys, and it turns out that, I don't know if you watched the video closely, but it had a lot of whining noise on the overrun. I asked the dealer to pull a history of it, and they've actually pulled apart the gearbox and clutch on that thing twice to try and fix it. It actually said in the service logs that they're not going to investigate it further, and now they're trying to sell the bike. And I did some research on the forums, and it turns out that it's a recall for that bike to replace the entire crankshaft of the engine. Apparently the gears aren't hardened properly, and over a period of time they will deform. Apparently it doesn't affect the mechanical reliability of the bike, but it does cause the gears to not mesh properly, and because I'm from an engineering background, I know that's not a good thing. Especially for a $12,000 bike. So I decided to walk away from that bike, which is a shame because that CBR looked fantastic in yellow. I really, really wanted that bike, and it was a bargain. I'd done like 4,000 kilometers and it looked brand new. The reason it looked brand new probably is because the motor was fucked. So yeah, hunt is still on. I'm sort of hoping that a bike just comes along and just blows my mind and I buy it, like on the spot, because at the moment nothing's really just, you know, won me over instantly. The Daytona was a fantastic bike, but I'm just having trouble pulling the trigger on it because of how much it costs. I mean, you're looking at $18,000 right away, which is a lot of money. Now, that's not to say I don't have a problem with spending the money, it's more that I also appreciate value for money, and I tend to enjoy bikes more when I don't have to, you know, you have to baby them and you have to protect them when they're worth so much money. And you know, you'll crack the shits about getting a scratch on the thing, or, you know, it's as opposed to getting a bike that, you know, 10,000 and, you know, you just enjoy it, you just ride it, because you're not as worried about it. Yeah, but, you know, the Z1000, I'm expecting that to be up around the 15 mark, as per usual. Actually, no, it'll probably be more, that one, because that's going to, word is it'll have stability control as well, so... And ABS will probably be standard on that model, I'm assuming. I am considering getting the Tuono out for a test ride. The problem is that that probably is the bike I'll end up buying if I test ride it, according to a lot of people. But that bike's more about winning you over on the spot, and then you find out about the little quirks later on with the fuel economy and the range and the... Oh, how do I word this without pissing people off? The Italian quirks would probably be the best way to put it, you know. And people don't realise that the Italians close down for a month of the year, and if you need a part in that month, you're fucked. And the company I work for is Japanese, and I know what it's like. You know, we keep massive supplies of parts in Australia just because we can and because we need to. And the Italians are like, you know, they're right. They need a part, they can wait for it if they bought the bike. So yeah. And it looks like we're about to get rained on again, so I might cut this short. Well, it's probably been a bit long anyway, but we'll pick it up when I meet up with the other guys at Luna Park. We'll be back soon.